there are some out-and-out speeders, particularly on Burton Road, and at times through Brent Street. The idea is not to catch the local resident that may be doing 55 or 50. It's to it will be calibrated to spot and only function on the speeder.
Where will it be sighted?
Right. It will be sited at various locations, and at the moment Nichols Facilities Management feel that it should be sited after the speed indicator device. So in other words, if you are approaching the speed...
On Burton Road?
No. It could be anywhere.
It goes where the sun's.
Yeah.
We have a series of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different locations. I don't know if you know. But
yeah.
the SID will go there, and then if they continue speeding, then it will be, the AMPR will be set back a few metres or yards back, so that if they continue speeding, having been told, they will then get
does this trigger a speeding ticket through the post type thing?
No, we're not going to use it at that.
Right.
We're going to take a photograph of the car, which it will take, and record of its speeding. It will then go to the police, who will then send a letter saying, look, this is a warning.
Yeah.
At the moment, when the speed group were doing it in Burton Row, they used to report speeders and they used to get letters. I had a letter myself, so I know that's how it operated. Okay,
Right.
but I wasn't speeding, but I was obviously going too fast for them. So that's the way the system works. And if you keep getting letters, then but the idea is to show that we are taking this matter serious, and it's probably the best piece of kit that we could have to do the job.
And can I just raise concern? It's only speaking to a police friend of mine. When you have the indicators of your speed, so it comes up and flashes up, dare I say it, there are some people, some drivers, that will deliberately speed to be able to get a recording on
Well,
is that something that we're aware of? And
no, because ours won't record above a certain speed.
Oh, okay.
So if you try and beat
I'm
it
not
doing
trying to
100 miles an hour, it won't
Yeah.
record it.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
I
why
just
we
wouldn't want
chose
us
that
to create
unit.
situations where we're actually encouraging wild drivers to even be
Well,
compromised,
if
which
we're
is not
encouraging wild drivers,
we can get
the
them.
ANPR will
Yeah.
get them.
Yeah.
But it's probably the best piece of kit that we can get, and I'm really pleased that
Yeah.
we've got the money.
Yeah.
So with your permission, I think we should get the manufacturer of the unit to come and give you a demonstration, and you meet them, because it's important that you understand it. And then we get the locations from Stuart Nichols where he feels it's best used, and we've just got to go and see where we go. It could well be that East Brent want to make use of it. I saw Nigel Lloyd-Jones, he's not on the committee anymore, is he? PC. But it could well be that they showed an interest when they saw it. So we are trying to lead the pack here in terms of control, for want of a better, or to be seen doing something. Okay. So I suggest we go down that route. The interesting thing is we need, if you like, £1,000 to cover the shortfall, and the Nuttall Trust is coming up, and I'm not sure whether the Nuttall Trust would contribute to that sort of thing, do you think, Bob? Or would they prefer to do something a bit more tangible in terms of play equipment?
Yeah, I don't know whether they would think it's a bit it could be a little controversial.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I mean, we don't want to tap them up for play equipment or other stuff.
Yeah. Okay. No,
And to be fair, if we and we've got money set aside in our budget for special projects, I would have thought if we were spending this on a special project for £1,000 to get this bit of kit, it's
Okay.
pretty good value for money.
Okay. No, then that's.
What it does demonstrate now that these grants are available if you apply for them. You know, I mean that would be the third grant we've had in a space. So we think about the Warm Spaces grants as well.
Did Colin apply?
Sorry?
Did you apply for that?
Yes.
Colin,
Yeah.
And I think that we've just got to keep using grants wherever we can.
We did it before actually many years ago, and we got an old-fashioned speed gun
Yeah,
out
that's
of
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a win-win again, really. So
Okay.
Bob.
And that's also on the SID asked whether we could do an additional site in Burton Row. When they redid the 30-mile-an-hour signs through there, they've put a new sign up opposite the, I think it's called the Old Farm, not a million miles away from where the planning application was talked about earlier. And that's a new one, it is straight, and it's on quite, it's near North, is it North Korea? Yeah. So the place that also, there's a farm that has a flag flying pretty much most of the time off in the red ensign. And just beyond there, there's a 30 sign, which it would go on, and that would catch people between us and East Brent.
Which way do you want it to go? Which way do you want it to go?
I have to be honest, because it's a nice straight road there, but catching in both directions.
Is that the one you emailed me about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perhaps you, remind me, and I'll go
Yeah.
and put some.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's. I think it's a move forward, and we need to keep going at it. Thank you. Right, where are we? Oh, Bob now.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet tonight. Council finances are still not great. There is an overspend for this year now of 22.5 million. Just to give you an idea where that, and we've said before, it's adult social care and children's care are predominantly the issues, but this year so far there's a £12.7 million overspend in the adult social care, and there's a 16.8 million in children's, which if those of you who are quick on your maths will realise that's more than 22.5 million short. And that's because obviously the county are making savings in the various other services to try and offset some of that funding. We're still looking at a £44 million shortfall for the first year of the unitary, and that's taking into consideration the savings that the unitary has planned to make in terms of admin. So it is going to be a pretty tough year financially, county-wise. There's a lot of lobbying going on to government at the moment because, as I say, a lot of that social care, and unless they do something nationally, there are going to be a lot of county councils and unitary councils who are going to be hitting the buffers within 18 months because they're all in the same position that Somerset's in. Reorganisation is still going ahead. We'll kick off on the first day of April. It's all still moving forward, but I think it'd be fair to say there are some slippages. They are desperate to make sure that they are legal and operational on day one, so there is a heightened focus on making sure that's the case. So basically, if you've got a planning application, you can actually register it on that day. There is a number of services that are being brought together, obviously things like planning and building regs. At the moment, you have a number of different.
Heating's gone off.
Have you
Heating, you will turn it up.
Yeah, turn it off, then turn it back on again. It's never come on, it's freezing cold.
So, as I say, basically there's a number of services being brought together. You may have seen press to say that there's been changes to the council tax benefit scheme, the business rate scheme that's now being combined, so all 4 districts will have the same system. So that will kick in as of the new year. And just the only other thing I was going to mention was they're looking for more places to help with Ukrainian refugees because the 6-month schemes are obviously coming to an end. They're now looking at further schemes for 6 months to a year in terms of trying to make that help look after the 400 plus Ukrainians who are in Somerset at the moment and any others that come. But I have to take any questions.
Any questions, Bob? Thank you.
I'll go and turn off the boiler and turn it back on again to see if that gets it fired up.
Is it okay for us to carry on?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Finance, a resolution to approve statutory payments, which are, do you want to just go?
Yeah, the statutory payments are the payments that we make to Clark's Salary and to our sort of Jason Mayo contractors and GB Sports. They're the ones that we agree in April. We don't identify them specifically, but they're agreed in April and they're made automatically. They're the statutory payments. And then on top of that, there's a number of what I best describe as one-off payments, which come in during the year. The Glaston benches is the first one there, and on the Glaston benches, it was 2 benches in fact, and one of them has been bought by the parish hall, and they've now sent us the cheque or transfer for the one that they are purchasing themselves. So we're paying half of that, although we're paying the whole of the VAT and claiming the whole of the VAT back for both benches. That's the reason why the parish hall asked us to do it. It is legal, I have checked it. I'm looking at Sarah. It is all legal, there's no sort of funny business going on. It is actually. I was just saying, Bob, that we received our payment for the bench from your good selves, and it is all above board, and all okay. Brent Knoll WI, we've already made a payment of £15. That was for refreshments for the session we did on the November the 12th, was it? The consultation event. Nichols Facilities Management for the November invoice of £60. Scribe Accounting, which is what we use for our finance, £345.60, that's an annual payment. The Kenny Gordon Groundworks, which again is a retrospective payment, that's already been made, of £7,892, quite a big chunk there for all the work that he did. SLCC annual membership, Society of Local Council Clerks, £177. And Media Edge, who did our leaflets for that event on the 12th of November, £15. Amazing, £15, but there you go. So we just need an approval.
Just a couple of questions. Do we pay for the web domain?
Sorry?
For the domain?
We pay for BrentKnollPC.co.uk, and that's an annual payment, £29 annually. That's the only thing and then our web provider does pay another fee, I think, for setting it up on the web. So that's again an annual fee which comes in with his annual invoice. Okay.
The only other thing was it's slightly unrelated to the accounts, but about we were going to review the landscaping gardening works each month. Sorry.
Yes, we were, and we were going we should have actually had we haven't had actually from Jason his list of what he's done. So
we perhaps need to chase that up.
Probably nothing in this one.
I need to chase that up actually, because he started sending it to us, but I noticed it's kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
And as tends to with contractors, I'm afraid, it tends to be the nature of the beast, I'm afraid. But I will follow that up. Sorry about that, David. But, they can be a little bit, what's the word?
Discriminatory.
Flexibility in their sort of paperwork, I think is probably the best way of describing it.
Open cast filing. Okay,
so
so do you want to do one resolution for everything?
I think you can do it for everything.
Okay. I propose that all these payments as detailed by Owen are paid. Do I have a seconder? David? All those in favour? Thank you.
Now the only other thing on finance is the E.ON energy supply. It looks as though they're quoting £5,000 this coming year, but there will be a slight reduction because we're getting 14 pence a unit as business rates. Basically, we can't do any better. I've shopped around. £5,000 seems to be what, on the usage that we've got. But do bear in mind, the shop paid 4,000 of that. So it's not 5,000 to us, it's about 1,000 to us, and 4,000 to the shop. Of course, that probably won't last a year because we'll be splitting the supply and the shop will be doing their own thing come hopefully summer. So before next winter, they'll be in control of their own energy. But at the moment, that's the deal we've got with Eon. We can't improve on it. In fact, not many companies will even let you change to water. So we are like, slightly lumbered with it actually. But we'll try and monitor it as best we can and make sure the shop pay their adequate dues on the energy. So I just need your agreement that we go ahead and sign a contract for 1 year with Eon.
I propose that we enter that contract. Sarah, all those in favour? Thank you. Well done. Updating matters. Weight restriction, Burnham Road, ongoing.
I'm not aware of anything. No.
What's happening with the 20 mile by the school?
Got a sign?
Still, yeah, we still have one. We've got one sign up.
One
The
sign.
other one's-
That's down that end.
Yeah, but not this end still.
Okay.
Yeah, and no electric.
Correspondence? No?
No, nothing
Okay.
other than that's come through by emails.
Okay. Community shop.
Not a lot to say there really. Obviously updates on planning. We've got the planning permission, and we're waiting for the design work so that we can get the tendering process underway. So that hopefully would be early January, I imagine. So that's all going through the process. I've applied now officially for the loan approval with the new conditions that they asked us to meet. I've been in touch with Fahima Begum today. She couldn't give me any information about how long it was going to be, but she was hoping it would be before Christmas. In fact, what was not very helpful was that she'd lost our application. Because when that wasn't exactly the best start I was looking for. Anyway, she went back and checked it all out, and she told us it is here. It's in somebody's in basket somewhere, Great. Thanks for treating it as a priority. So hopefully that she'll now get to work on that. I did say we'd like an answer before the 4th of January meeting, if possible. So that's that. The working group, well, obviously Sarah and Colin and myself were there when we met our legal man, Charles Fleming. Did you want to say anything about this, Sarah?
All I was going to do is perhaps look at the heads of terms and put together a template that we can discuss in the group, in our working group. That just set out salient points of the commercial documentation. So I think it would be useful. I think there's perhaps a bit more work that we can do directly with the shop without sort of racking up bills with the lawyers, I think. So I'll provide that to you within the next few days. It might just help. I think there's just a bit more consideration to be had.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. Useful to have Sarah on, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Because obviously, a lot of the stuff that Charles was talking about was, okay, it's legal stuff basically. A little bit over our head, some of it. So it's good.
Okay, John, anything on your allotment?
No, push it to next year
Okay.
it will help.
Thank you. Who's doing the surgery for January?
Yeah, January the 3rd, who would like to
I'll
do
do
that? You happy to do that one?
Oh yeah, I'm not going to France today and yes, I'll be doing it, yeah.
Thank you, Eddie.
Shouldn't interrupt your French visits.
Training for counsellors?
Training certificates I'm in the process of preparing. I mentioned it last time and I showed you a sample of what we were proposing. And yeah, I'm in the process of doing that actually. And I think the question was asked whether they could be put in here actually. I think somebody suggested it might. And I think we all looked at Bob, sort of with. But it's not essential. But it will be in a file anyway, so anybody can see it. If they want to see it, they can see it. And it just confirms that we are taking training seriously, I guess.
There was some training modules that you offered to us,
Yes.
and you were going to come back with some dates.
Yes,
Keep
and we've not
missed
come back.
that.
No, I haven't come back to us on that. Were they Sedgmore ones or South?
Yeah.
It was South, weren't they?
Yeah, Yes, it was.
Okay, I'll follow that up.
It says I haven't got clear, I can't remember.
Okay. I'll look at that.
We can make it your screensaver. Yeah, we can make certificates to screensaver.
Well, that's far more interesting than that.
Okay, the next one I can't quite understand, but to consider a possible alternative being put forward.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that question, what you thought that meant, actually. It was badly written and actually missed half the point. It was to do with the fish and chip replacement unit, which I should have put in the agenda and didn't. So I only put half of it, and I thought someone's going to spot that. So yeah, we had a request that some other alternative could be put. No, I can't remember who put it forward actually. Somebody suggested there was somebody with a pizza supplier.
There are roaming pizza vendors. Yes.
Whether it was, it might have been Amanda perhaps.
Still get complaints, but it doesn't matter.
I can't remember who put it forward. Somebody said, "Oh, now we haven't got fish and chip, we could offer something else."
There's a few
Yeah.
people said about having something,
Yeah,
or could
yeah.
we look at something?
There's somebody in Birmingham that does
But until they come forward, we can't really do anything about it. I mean, it's just.
I'll make a good pizza in the oven, anything now.
Well, perhaps we could all just try and identify as we go around anyone that we can
Yeah.
possibly contact. It's a pity about fish and chips because
Yeah.
it was a great success.
Yeah, good.
So I think just add on that, I think it's Have a Slice, which is the guys
Yeah,
in Barrow who did
yeah.
once
Nice.
run one outside the old post office.
Okay.
They put their converted horse box there.
Okay.
So they are a local family-ish. Potentially you could offer a trial.
They could
What
write
did
it.
they do?
Write it.
So Pete, they run a pizza business in
Yeah.
Barrow, and he has a horse box.
Yeah.
Yeah, his family are, I believe, Brent Knoll.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Two sides.
yeah, so he may, we put the olive branch there. He may bring his horse
If they
box
could
and
get in touch with us and we can put it in front of the council.
Yeah. I'll pick that up if you want to.
Will you?
I'll have
Thanks,
to pick that
John.
up,
Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant. Thank you.
Can I just ask on that, have we heard from the fish and chip guy as to what his plans are going forward, if and when he gets his staffing
No,
sorted?
don't know whether Jane knows any more about it.
From what I understand, I think he's selling that wagon. That's the last I heard. But I don't think
The last I heard, it was nothing to do with staff.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there's all sorts of stories.
Yeah.
One or two,
But I think
one or
he-
two
I think
fishy stories.
I think he was exhausted actually. He was just working with the hours and
Yeah.
he just thought no.
Couldn't resist that, sorry.
It was very good.
You had it enough.
Yeah. What was that?
Had it enough.
In the wrong place at the right time.
Out of the fat into the fire.
Call out push.
Yeah. Oh dear, that's perfect. Okay, let's whack on through these last things. Flagpole. David.
It's down, it's half cleaned. The bit that we thought was seized up definitely isn't. I've got a new rope coming free of charge from military grade, so I'm told, so it should last longer, and I'm getting someone, well they're probably doing it as we speak, to manufacture a metal bit that you wind the rope round at the bottom, and that will be bolted through it, and apart from that, then it will go up. So I'm hoping at the end of next week it will go back up, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Give me a shout.
that's the plan. I want it up next week,
Thank you.
because
Yeah.
otherwise it's just one of my
Yeah.
other jobs that don't get done.
Yeah.
It's a priority.
Yeah.
Good job.
We understand.
Yeah.
Good job.
Okay, Hill Lane Car Park security.
Yeah, we
Oh,
mentioned
we
it
want to
last time.
start, we want to put a sign
We're talking
up.
about signs and,
Bars, wasn't it? Some as well, wasn't it?
I mean, do you want me to start asking around to see what others have done? And
Yeah.
I'll get some information if you want me to.
Yeah.
I think we can do it sign sooner than later, but it's a due comment, because at the end of the day, if someone had an accident or anything at the moment,
Oh,
technically
yeah.
it would be our fault, because we have absolutely no notice that they're saying we're not accepting liability, and two different people have told me that. So,
I have informed our insurers that we now have got a car park.
You've got the copy of the one I sent you, haven't you?
Mm.
From the other car park.
if we just got a sign.
It,
There's Adrian.
correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, it should be placed in such a position that all users can see it.
Yeah.
You can't stick it in a corner. People
It should be
must.
visible prior to access.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Technically, you need two. You'd want one on the footpath
Yeah.
if you're walking in from the footpath, and you, if there was an accident, someone,
yeah, yeah.
someone who
so-
wasn't driving.
Okay, what's the plan? What are we going to do about it then?
Well, what do you suggest we do?
It's getting the word.
I mean, as I
It's
said,
the
there's-
wording,
I
right?
sent you some wording from one that was on another council's account, which I think is pretty appropriate. But when you want to circulate
Yeah.
to others, and then we could get. I mean, area signs have always been competitive
Yeah,
in terms of
yeah.
getting stuff made up.
Yeah.
Circulate.
And they
We
go.
could just do it, so you need to get it done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we have a word with the council, because what the council wins, that's all they are, aren't they? Have a word with the councils to see if they've got two that we can buy off them, sort of thing, because they make them, don't they, and they install them, don't they? Or not?
To be honest, they won't do the wording for what we would need, because again, it needs to say this Brent Knoll
Oh,
Parish
yeah,
Council
yeah.
and stuff.
Okay, circulate it, and then
Okay. All
if
right.
we all agree it, then we can go to
Yeah,
area
so,
signs. And presumably we'll need posts and somebody to
Yeah.
install it. Okay,
I wouldn't mind do it, I don't mind that. Yeah, or something.
thank you. Thanks, David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Dave.
Phone call for this.
Warm social project update
That
progress.
started last Friday, and we came along, and we had quite a few of the volunteers that came along as well. And really, what the purpose of that was just to sort of get familiar with this room and let people know how it's going to be used.
Was the room actually warm at the time?
It was boiling, it was boiling. I
Could be a
mean,
bit of
We need
misrepresentation at the moment.
We need soup now.
But
The whole lot.
we've got 10 or 12 volunteers, which is actually quite encouraging.
yeah, we've got a couple more coming this Friday as well.
Have
So,
we?
yeah, we've got some more volunteers.
And Karen and Steve are looking after things this week, aren't
Yeah.
they?
How many people actually attended?
Well, we only had a couple of people actually came,
Yeah.
but we had a lot of volunteers.
Ben could stand up.
We had a lot of volunteers, but there was a bit of confusion sort of thing at the beginning, but, you know, the lady that come with it, she said she'd be here every week.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously she's going to tell other people as well, and so it's going to get bigger and bigger, we hope.
I must say I was very impressed with Helen and John, because when I arrived here, they got it all laid out properly. It was all very nice and very, you know, the tables were all.
We have got our own cupboard down the bottom there now as well, for down the bottom. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we got this £1,000 grant, and obviously that will be used for providing this room for those 12 weeks or whatever it is, plus any supplies or whatever that we put forward. So yeah, I would say looks pretty good. Looks pretty good.
Well done, Alan. And thanks, David, for your help. And anyone else that's helped. Well done. Thank you. Gosh, this sounds a bit heavy. Development plan for Brent Knoll, my word. Who
John,
got that one?
Yeah,
Oh my word.
This one will be maybe for next year. But just very briefly, I was at a funeral last week and then chatting to a senior clerk from South Hams, and just raised an interesting question of they're certainly working on a development plan over there. And it was really just a very broad brush stroke, probably one more for Bob as our president expert, but that we could, as councillors, my understanding is that we could scope a plan as councillors over the next few years for what we'd like to see and not see happen in this village. But I'll hand it over to Bob, obviously, as probably
Right,
an expert
I'm
on
going
that.
to put you straight in it. Would you like to do it?
I'll be interested to learn about it, very happy to learn about it, yeah.
We did try to set it up, but when we started, it became such a huge task.
Yes.
That's why I had to have a wry smile.
I'll be involved as well. I'll be happy to be involved.
It's a big job. Yeah, huge.
More the merrier then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
huge. But yeah.
So Sarah and John to have a closer look at it.
Okay.
That's why I described it.
Just to highlight.
Best of luck. See you in 2050 or so.
I was only going to say, I mean, in effect, what that would be is a neighbourhood plan.
Yeah.
And if you do start making progress on it, it'd be worth talking to the Sedgemoor Local Plans team and a gentleman called Nick Tate,
Thank you.
point you in the right direction. Other places that have done it generally you're looking at 18 months to 2 years to probably get the thing put together. Well, and at the end of it, you should have a referendum.
Did you say you don't want to do it now?
Well,
Yeah.
Go on,
Initial look.
Go on, why?
John,
Initial look.
I should stick to the allotment.
The reason why it's slightly more heavyweight than some of the other stuff is because it becomes part of the local plan, and therefore any developer or any development is affected by it. So you will, in some of the bigger areas, they've been challenged by house builders, so you need to make sure you've done your homework and you've got it absolutely involved. But Nick Tate is the guy to start you off with, and he'll point you in the right direction of others to talk to.
All sorted by the February meeting?
Be careful who you speak to at funerals.
Yeah. You got to sit next to that.
I should speak to the undertaker. Oh dear, brilliant.
AM.
Well,
AM, it should be AM PM.
Yeah.
I got that wrong.
well, I think we've said how we're
We
going forward.
sorted that.
What I would like, every year I do the Nuttall Trust grant, and I've done it for years, but I think someone else should take that on this year, and because learn how to do it, because it's got to be in by, I think, mid-January. It's fairly easy to complete. You get a project, you price it up, and then you just complete the forms and send it in. It is a really good. Do you want to outline what the Nuttall Trust is to people?
Yeah, for those who are newer to the village, there were a couple, probably Mr. and Mrs. Nuttall, who actually used to live in the bungalow opposite the gatehouse at the bottom of Manor Ride. So when they passed away, they left a bequest basically to the, as it was at that time, the 3 villages of Brent Knoll, and East Brent. That money was put in trust and was invested, and then the income from that is then used to give grants to organisations throughout those villages. Now it's been widened now, I think, to encompass Mark as well. But it is they've given grants, hence the Nuttall room in the hall is because there was grant money came from the Nuttall Trust to help pay for that. They are, it's a very useful organisation. As Colin said, they put out a notice each year. It will be in the next issue of the BKN telling people they've got until the middle of January, but it is open to any organisation within the parishes to apply.
Yeah.
Supporting
Our representative is a chap called John Baker, who lives up at, is it Windy Ridge? He lives at Tommy Hill, is it
His
Windy Ridge?
husband.
So really, I'd like someone to do it, please.
Is it about?
It's really easy, I've done one actually.
Well, why don't you do it then?
I'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the classic thing to do it for is contribution towards a roundabout. I think it's no use asking for thousands, just a general contribution towards it.
And is it something that's submitted once a year?
Yes.
Like ongoing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But once you've done one, then you know what you do each year. But I'll help you with it, by all means, Millie.
Yeah.
But I think it would be great if someone else could do it.
No problem.
That's great, thank you. Okie doke.
And that's the report.
When's this telephone booth got to be moved in that lot? Do we know? Because we were talking about it last meeting, about removing it.
Yeah.
It will all depend on what happens with the build.
So there's no time limit of us removing it from that
But
place
we're
down
not
there?
going to sell it to the telephone.
No.
Yes.
No, we decided to keep it here.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Right, okay, that's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
In due course, I think is the answer.
Yeah.
Right, okay, yeah.
That means, like, you know.
Never.
Because the electricity disconnection, like she's got electric to it,
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
David did
It's part of the development plan.
Yeah, telephone box.
Sorry, John.
Historic reference.
Oh dear. Tracy,
Not listening.
anything? John?
No.
David?
I dread to say it. parking at the school and speeding.
Oof.
With a me and Aid and Amanda witnessed something that was quite incredible when we took the
Bloody
phone
hell,
call
yeah.
there,
Really?
which yeah, and quite unlikely of sources as well. The school bus.
Somerset County Council
On
all over
the
there.
zigzags.
The bus went absolutely. It was 50.
And we stood there going, and he's still front, wasn't he?
Yeah, it went crazy. Amanda wrote the registration down, but that and parking at the school.
Was that Finn
down.
Alfred's school bus?
I don't know, but it was it's a branded Somerset County
It was
Council.
parked down by the school, then it left there, put his
Was
foot
from
down,
not
Yeah.
school there.
turned around
It's
back there,
around
and
somewhere,
come tear it down here.
but
There's three of us stood there,
yeah,
straight past us.
the speed was
Yeah.
ridiculous. But
Well, if we've got his
Sorry,
number,
sorry.
surely we should
Yeah.
report it to Somerset. but it wasn't
Amanda,
fair.
I bet.
Because, yeah,
She got it in her
yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob? No, nothing from me. Thank you all. Have a great Christmas and New Year. I'll see you in the New Year with our development plan well underway. And please stop and have